Good afternoon to everyone. Thank you for your time today. And I don't want to spend a whole lot of time in a PowerPoint, but I think it is important that I cover a few things, and then we'll jump right into a product demonstration. I'll start by saying that in today's presentation, we're not going to be covering every feature within Remedyforce. We're really highlighting the key features that were introduced with the Summer 13 release. And so, but however, I do see, or I saw that there were a number of you that are currently using other solutions or other BMC solutions. And so while we're here, let's talk a little bit about some of the capabilities that you get with Remedyforce and certainly highlight the newer modules. So as you're looking at this particular slide here, you'll notice, one, we offer a service request capability. And this is, in my mind, one of the nicest things about the Remedyforce product is the fact that customers can go to a self-service page, they can request services, they can access information in terms of a knowledge base, they can register incidents, but specifically as it relates to service requests, they're able to capture the information, or they're able to provide you as the service provider the information that you will need so that you can ultimately fulfill requests. And so whether it be requesting a new application, requesting new hardware, or permissions to different applications, that service request capability gives you that. And again, that's all available through the self-service portal, where again, not only can you register, or can customers register those service requests, but they can also register incidents. They also have the ability of searching the knowledge base, which as we talk about the knowledge management solution, this is a true knowledge management solution. It's not just simply a search engine that's searching all of the opened or closed incidents, right? This actually allows you to formalize a knowledge management process so that you can propose knowledge articles, they can be reviewed, they can be approved, and then ultimately published and then periodically reviewed to make sure that that content is up to date. And one of the nice enhancements, which we'll talk about in Summer 13, is the ways in which we can actually propose this new content to be included in the knowledge base. Another module would be the service level management module. So this is where we would formalize our service level agreements with our customers. But not only that, the SLA module, in addition to allowing you to formalize SLAs, also allows you to define your OLAs, so your operational level agreements, as well as underpinning contracts. So that's quite a flexible tool. And two, in the Summer 13 release, there were some nice enhancements there that we'll talk more about as well. Mobility, having the ability to access the Remedyforce solution from your Android device, from your iOS device. And so those were, that is certainly an option that customers have with the Remedyforce solution. And here again, BMC made some nice enhancements in regards to mobility, specifically around allowing your customers to participate in the approval process through their mobile device, so they can actually approve different requests from their mobile device, that type of thing. And then you start getting into some of the other capabilities, like the chatter functionality. So chatter, as the name would allude, is a utility that will allow staff members and customers to chat amongst themselves. But in addition to that, it's really a collaboration utility. So if you could imagine a Facebook for IT or for your support organization, in the sense that if I am interested, or I am an application administrator or a server administrator, and I want to know any time that an incident is registered against that asset that I am responsible for, or if anyone has questions around that, that's where the chatter can be used, so that you can indeed ask questions and be up to date with any linked records and content as it relates to those different assets. Now, I used assets as an example, but that would also pertain to your change records, problem records if you were a problem manager, or even specific incidents as a customer. And then another utility that we're leveraging, or BMC leverages as part of the Force.com platform, is the reporting and analytics engine. I was talking with a customer earlier today, and their comment was, this is extensively much easier to use than the reporting engine that they had with Service Desk Express, and I can't agree more. It is much easier to create, manipulate reports. If you really look at the reporting engine that Remedyforce uses, it was designed for executives, account managers, and salespeople to get information out of a CRM solution. And so, as you can imagine, these are folks that don't necessarily have SQL DBA skills. They don't have programming skills, but they can create reports and get the information they need out of the system. And as a result of us using that reporting tool, it makes it very easy for management teams to get information out of Remedyforce as well. And one of the new modules is the customer survey module. So up until this point, it's been very common that customers would use survey tools like SurveyMonkey, third-party survey solutions. And as we sent out emails when the incident was closed, we would send them a link to this third-party tool. The problem is that information wasn't stored in the Remedyforce database, and it wasn't necessarily directly linked back to the incidents and to the service requests that had been registered in Remedyforce. And so by having this survey module now included as part of Summer 13, that alleviates that issue. And as Dick had mentioned earlier, RightStar, we are an IT consulting firm, and we certainly adhere and encourage our customers to leverage the ITIL framework. And one of the reasons that we can do that very comfortably is because BMC also makes that recommendation, and the product is actually built upon the ITIL framework. So in addition to having an ITIL compliant solution, BMC has actually taken that one step further, and they give their customers access to fully documented ITIL processes where the product is already pre-configured and customized to support and automate those processes. So if you've ever are familiar, or if you've ever heard of, or if you are familiar with the alignability process model, that's exactly what I'm referring to. So that's also included with Remedyforce. And then you start getting into the traditional IT service management processes like incident management, problem management, change management, configuration management. These are, again, things that have been just de facto standards as part of any IT service management solution in the last 15 years. And so these are obviously capabilities that Remedyforce has. And in addition to that, we have your asset and inventory management with the integration of tools like the Footprints Asset Core, so that we can discover assets, we can manage those assets, capture the financial information related to those, all of those types of things. And then one of the more recent modules, it wasn't released in the Summer 13, but rather Spring 13, I believe it was, you have the release management. And release management is something I'm seeing more and more customers talk about because they realize the need to develop release cycles within their organization so that we're not constantly having this flux of changes at all times. Instead, they're trying to structure things, they're trying to group their changes that are appropriately grouped and develop release cycles or define their release cycles and release those multiple changes at a time and at a single time in an orderly fashion. And so release management is one of those modules that have been recently introduced into Remedyforce. So again, that's kind of an overview of all of the entire solution, but again, I just want to highlight the fact that the customer surveys, this is a brand new module, and then we've had a number of improvements to other modules such as knowledge management, the service level management, mobility, and incident management. I would say that there are three primary areas where BMC focused on this last release, one of which is the ease of administration, the other being the ease of use for the staff members, and then lastly, the customer satisfaction, that being the survey module, capturing the information in terms of how satisfied your customers are once you've resolved that incident, once you have fulfilled that service request that they have made. So if we start looking at ease of administration, and each of these after the PowerPoint, I'm going to be going through the application and illustrating these in a live demonstration. So when we talk about ease of administration from an SLA perspective, there's a number of things that were done to the SLAs, one of which is allowing the application settings for due dates, so allowing you to adjust how the due date is actually calculated. So for those of you that maybe have been familiar with Service Desk Express, you know if you ever change the impact of an incident while it was open, you would always get this pop-up asking you, do you want to calculate based upon the current date, or do you want to calculate the new due date based upon when the record was originally open? And so now we have some global settings around that we can, that as an administrator, we can make in the application, and it's less pop-ups. It's in a more consistent calculation of those due dates. In addition to that, generic SLAs. So up until this point, it has been required that you have to have an organization as well as you have to have a service defined for your service level agreement. And in theory, that's exactly what you want. We want to know, okay, for this particular group of customers and for this service, this is what you should expect. But the reality is that not every organization is at that maturity level where they're really ready to define that granular of a service level agreement. So what that allows us to do now with the generic SLAs is that we can define an SLA that can be applied to all records, or at least those records that are for services that maybe we haven't fully defined and flushed out our SLAs there. So that's nice. In addition to that, we can configure milestones. So the from address is something that is configurable now, and with that, it just simply means that if you wanted the notification to appear to go from a specific email address, that is something that you can configure as it relates to your milestones, your SLA milestones. There's also a number of settings surrounding the console. So the first thing we can define, these settings are defined based upon the user's profile, and in addition to that, that gives us the ability to define what actions that they have, as well as what actions that they have, as well as some of the tools that they might have access to in that console. So again, these are things that we're going to be taking a look at in the demonstration. When we start talking about ease of use, again, the console is one of the newest introductions that BMC, they first introduced in the Spring 13 release, and so they have continued the development of that, which I'm happy to see, and there's a lot of nice little improvements that they made, one of which is right from the console I can see if this incident is for what we would consider to be a VIP, right? In addition to that, I can see in a graphical manner where we are in terms of meeting our SLA as it relates to those due dates that we define with our SLA. So are we, over 50% of the way there? Have we exceeded our SLA? Those types of things. In addition, we can see the new records. So again, that's nice in the sense that if I'm looking at a list of all of the incidents that are assigned to my queue, well, at that point, I can see which ones are brand new, which are the new incidents that no one has touched.